Hello and welcome to another episode of the Best Automatic. I'm your host, Captain Gorgeous. And I'm your host, Captain Know-It-All. And I'm your host, Captain Pervert. So, on our previous show, I do the previous now because the producers want me to do it because you two are naughty for arguing in the previous episode. Well, not because of your behaviour, no, because you took over and left us. What even in the show? Anyhow, we were talking about our previous stuff, like, mentioning about British, obviously once upon a time before they had Brexit, but, and obviously they got abandoned, but we had toys like, not Barbie, but Cindy. Now, it was a very popular toy, but never sold in America maybe, but there might be some collectors there. And we had the most iconic action figure was Action Man. The Americans had G.I. Joe, but we had Action Man, and obviously we had these beautiful detail vehicles because we had to go out and buy our clothes, didn't we, in shops. But now you can do that like on GTA. We'll just go to a clothes shop and dress your character, but we had to do it with our dolls to play that type of game.
What are you bittering on about?
I was on about our beloved Cindy.
Well, me and Captain Know-It-All had a right to proper discussion about, his space film, this space 2021 Odyssey and all that, though. Right, there's a guy floating around in space without a helmet. Well, Vin Diesel's already done that in Fast and Furious and all that lot. So there's no difference there, is there?
Yes, but Space Odyssey is the most original first movie I was trying to explain about maybe, sci-fi or space. Yeah, but we're not bothered. We're more bothered about, Fast and Furious or something. Or proper issues like we're trying to mention about the stigma, how people think about when you're in your, maybe your mum's car or your sister's car and it's all painted in pink.
Yes, that was the issue, that when you're on an online game like GTA and you see a pink car, everybody has the illusion they may be a lady online player driving that vehicle. All because, the stigma of the colour of pink.
Or it could be the convertible.
Yeah, but we're not all bothered about that because you've been discussing this forever.
Yeah, like we should be talking about you cheating.
What do you mean cheating?
Well, on our previous episode, you're making out you're so brilliant because you did that challenge and won it. But the rules are we're only meant to do it once, not have practice.
What are you getting at?
Well, we've got footage, right, of your first attempt, and I think the public should see that.
No.
Oh, yes, we are, and we need to.
Yes, because it is unfair, you know, what you did, Captain John.
No, it ain't. Look, all I did was like everyone else does, have a practice, don't you?
Yeah, but the rules are when we drive these vehicles individual, that we only have one attempt to do that, and that is it. So why do you feel like you're liberated to have another go?
Well, I did.
Yeah, because power's gone into his head, right, ain't it? Because, yeah, the producers are like, oh, wow, he's a James Bond virgin, he don't know things. Oh, this is quite interesting. And, yeah, it's like you were doing it on our episode, fighting Casino Royale.
Well, yes, I did do that because it gave me the inspiration of thought it would be a good idea to actually, listen to the story and see something, because obviously it'd be a bit quite dull.
Well, I've got to admit, right, because I don't bothered with the backs.
So you're a James Bond fan, but you don't know the book?
Well, no, the backs, but doesn't mean I've got to sit down and listen to them or, you know, read them or anything, because I'm not good at reading at all, but, you know, I just sit down and watch the movies instead, like everyone else do, don't they?
Well, no, the producers want me to do it properly, to learn about James Bond, and that's how I was doing it with Casino Royale, and being introduced with James Bond.
Yeah, but that's a bit boring listening to his story, innit?
No, it ain't. I mean, it was interesting to sort of listen to the, you know, how this character James Bond and the sheaf and all that lot.
See, right there, that's what I'm getting at.
What?
Well, that, what you done? No, that's why you had another go, because you've totally, you know, well, made a bit of a bumble of that, haven't you?
Yeah, crashed, yeah.
But the rules are, he could actually go back and do it again, but obviously the clock keeps on ticking, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I'm properly stuck, and obviously I got out, and obviously wasn't nice, and yeah.
So, really, that is how it went in it.
Well, yeah.
But it is quite interesting what the producers are actually doing.
Well, that's why they want me to sort of learn about James Bond, because getting advice from Captain Pervert wasn't really helpful according to the producer's point of view.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you watch previous shows, they'll understand.
You're starting to insult me, aren't you?
No, it's what the producers want us to do. Now then, for us to do a program, right, that obviously, you know, I don't know anything much about Bond, and obviously they love the opportunity to sort of like coach me, and maybe, you know, I could do the James Bond specials and that.
Well, you might. I'll do the James Bond specials and all that, lot. Well, why should you be important in doing that?
Because I'll know more proper information about Bond, and the first thing you got to do is think about the younger generation.
What do you mean the younger generation?
Well, you're old, and obviously you got the younger generation. Well, what ain't going to sit back to watch a 1962 movie way back called Dr. No, are they? I mean, that's why I got told that, you know, when they got the rights of Casino Royale, the book from Ian Fleming, that it'd be interesting to actually watch documentaries about James Bond. And the best way is actually put clips on, because obviously getting advice from you is just terrible. No, it ain't. Look, I think a documentary is more advisable for people to understand, not your wisdom.
Yeah, he's got a point there.
Don't you be ganging up on me!
For producers Michael Wilson and Barbara Broccoli, this is the culmination of events that started over 6 years ago, when they finally secured the rights to the first and most influential of Ian Fleming's spy novels, Casino Royale. The 1962 film Dr. No is credited as the first James Bond movie. However, the character made his screen debut almost a decade earlier.
So, if you can see it there, I have learnt a lot more in them few seconds and been on for hours and years listening to you on about James Bond and explaining it.
Why are you sudden picking on me all of a sudden?
Well, you were trying to embarrass me about, cheating or whatever, but it got your attention. But this is the point about James Bond. This history. Before I go firing into Dr. No, yes, it's the first James Bond movie, but it's not the first original story of James Bond. This is why it's explaining about the opportunity they had when they got the rights to the book, and they started Bond from the humble beginnings in 2006.
It was made into a television play in America, and Barry Nelson played the leading character, who was Jimmy Bond.
It's like all that time I've been working with you, that you don't even mention any of these vital information about stuff like Jimmy Bond.
Well, what should I?
Well, carry on watching and you should know.
Because of that, the rights were tied up, so when Cubby and Harry made the deal with Fleming to the Bond series, they couldn't acquire those rights. And the people that had those rights made the film Casino Royale in 1967, which was a spoof of the whole kind of spy genre, sort of a precursor to Austin Powers, in fact. So the book was never really done properly.
See, if you're going to be talking about a subject, you got to know your subject. And obviously that's what the producers want me to do. And obviously the humble beginnings of James Bond was back in 2006. The original idea for Casino Royale is the book.
We got into a lawsuit with Sony Pictures in 1997, and as part of the resolution of that lawsuit, we got a hold of the rights. And so when we were sitting around saying, what do we want to do for the next film, it seemed like this was a great opportunity. The opportunity has been missed all the way along, and we could finally make Casino Royale the way it should be.
So now you can understand why the producers are going on this level of actually going by the book.
Oh, get that right. I mean, come on, he just gets jacked straight into watching the movies.
Yeah, and how you've been explaining them is really, really complicated.
Actually, he's got quite a fair point on that. It is quite interesting what he's doing. Oh, so what I'm saying, he's done wrong, right? And now you two are both ganging up on me, are you? No, we're not ganging up on you. Well, it seems like yeah, and it's not nice because it's like a form of bullying. Look, we're not bullying you, but obviously your facts are not that brilliant, are they? Well, you mind my facts are not that brilliant. I mean, I've been telling Captain Gorgeous about James Bond, and all of a sudden now the producers are like jumping in and taking my limelight away from me.
Oh, that is it, isn't it? That's what you're upset about, isn't it?
No, it's not that at all, right?
No, it's a good idea what they've come out, and they like the opportunity of me not knowing about James Bond. He's going to start learning about James Bond, and hopefully viewers might start watching and maybe you think, yeah, it's not a bad idea to see this famous franchise of this character what has a load of cars.
Well, yeah, obviously Bond had a lot of cars. He's the right order of cars, if you notice when you watch the movies.
Well, I won't know until I get started on watching the movies.
The producers decide from the outset that they want to remain as faithful as possible to Fleming's original novel. This is Bond at the beginning of his career, which automatically rules out Pierce Brosnan to play the part of 007.
Well, Pierce Brosnan was quite a cool Bond, you know.
Right, but obviously, like they're saying, that he's too old to play the part, isn't he? So, for Bond to be at the humble beginnings, he has to be a younger man. So they had to get a younger actor, didn't they?
Well, yeah, to establish that and all that lot.
Well, to stop getting all sulky about it, because you're upset because I'm getting more attention with the producers and that.
Oh, no, get in bed and all that lot.
Having decided to do the book, it's supposed to be Bond when he just gets his 00 license, and Pierce is too old for that.
See, it's pointed it out there. So, I've learnt that there's quite a few different actors because, yes, they all get old and you know, and obviously, you know, they can't perform anymore because they're old.
Don't be insulting like that, that's not nice. They can't help that people get old. You're getting old as well.
Yes, I can gather that. But obviously, I don't want to be playing a secret spy or something. Because as far as I know with Bond, as you have been showing that it has like stunts, like the Fall Guy and all that lot. And that's why, you know, you can't have these old men running around.
Well, they nearly did with Roger Moore and all that lot. Who?
Director Martin Campbell, who was responsible for launching Pierce Brosnan in GoldenEye, will return to direct the film.
So it does make sense watching these documentaries. So I know that Bond is being played by maybe 6 more actors, and there'll be maybe more because it seems to be continuing and all, isn't it?
Well, yeah, obviously it's Bond.
Well, I won't know. I mean, it's not like the author's still alive writing the books, is he?
Well, now.
So everybody, we are starting the challenge instead of letting them witter on. So, as you all know, if you've been watching, you may notice that we've been doing a few challenges just the same with our not so tame racing driver. What actually has to drive on the most dangerous road to one destination and then back again. And we've got to match that time and beat the not so tame racing driver's time. But we haven't been all successful at doing that. Now, we haven't, and obviously, you know, but this is an interesting challenge and it's
Great for people.
would you mind butting in?
Well, no, but the thing is, this is my opportunity because the producers thought it was quite interesting from last episode that I was actually playing some, audio from Casino Royale because we need to know a little bit more before we go venturing into the movie. Because, like we said, we've got to learn about the book.
Oh, please, yeah, do we have to? It seems like you're whittering on.
I thought you were a James Bond fan. Surely you should go through the book. You've seen them clips, so obviously we need to know a little bit more. So here's the opportunity to hear a little bit more of Casino Royale.
You might pat the gimp off.
Well, no better than for us to challenge, won't it?
That's play a bloody clip on then.
Position is here in real strength. Above you is the Moss family. He is German. She is from somewhere in Central Europe, perhaps a Czech. This is an old-fashioned hotel. There are disused chimneys behind these electric fires. Just here, he pointed a few inches above the panel fire, is suspended a very powerful radio pickup. The wires run up the chimney to behind the Monty's electric fire, where there is an amplifier. In the room is a wire recorder and a pair of earphones, at which the Monties listen in turn. That is why Madame Mons has the grip, and takes all her meals in bed, and why Monsieur Mons has to be constantly at her side instead of enjoying the sunshine and the gambling of this delightful resort. Now, some of this we knew because in France we are very clever. The rest we confirmed by unscrewing your electric fire a few hours before you got here. Suspiciously, Bond walked over and examined the screws which secured the panel to the wall. Their grooves showed minute scratches. "Now it is time for a little more play acting," said Mathis. He walked over to the radio, which was still transmitting close harmony to his audience of 3, and switched it off. "Are you satisfied, monsieur?" he asked. "You notice how clearly they came over. Are they not a wonderful team?" He made a winding motion with his right hand and raised his eyebrows. "They're so good," said Bond, "but I would like to hear the rest of the program." He grinned at the thought of the angry glances which the Munces must be exchanging overhead. The machine itself seems splendid. Just what I was looking for to take back to Jamaica. Mathis made a sarcastic grimace and switched back to the rolling program. "You and your Jamaica," he said, and sat down again on the bed. Bond frowned at him. "Well, it's no good crying over spilt milk," he said. "We didn't expect the cover to stick for long, but it's worrying that they've bowled it out so soon." He searched his mind in vain for a clue. Could the Russians have broken one of our ciphers? If so, he might just as well pack up and go home. He and his job would have been stripped naked. Mathis seemed to read his mind. "It can't have been a cipher," he said. "Anyway, we told London at once, and they will have changed them. A pretty flap we caused, I can tell you." He smiled with the satisfaction of a friendly rival.
So, as you can see, that the actual GIMP actually messed up the challenge. So, the only way we thought was, well, we need another driver because the GIMP is not going to sort that mess out at all. So, we're going to get this takeaway, aren't we? No, they ain't. They're going to get another driver. Another one, meaning me. What? You? Yes, me, the one and only. Yeah, Captain Know-It-All is going to be doing the dangerous drive, and you've got to try to beat my score in this vehicle. So, this is your goal then, is it? Well, no, because I've got to beat my own score with this vehicle. But I am trying my best to get a good time. So, hopefully I'll make it quite interesting and entertaining. Right.
So, are we going to get entertained by listening to a little bit more Casino Royale?
Yes, I think that'd be quite wise. Oh, okay.
I thought you liked Bond.
And now to business, before our good compagnon run out of breath. First of all, and he inhaled a thick lungful of Caparol, you will be pleased with your number 2. She is very beautiful. Bond frowned. Very beautiful indeed. Satisfied with Bond's reaction, Mathis continued. She has black hair, blue eyes, and splendid, protuberances back and front, he added. And she is a wireless expert, which, though sexually less interesting, makes her a perfect employee of Radio Stento, and assistant to myself in my capacity as wireless salesman for this rich summer season down here. He grinned. We are both staying in the hotel, and my assistant will thus be on hand in case your new radio breaks down. All new machines, even French ones, are apt to have teething troubles in the first day or two, and occasionally at night, he added with an exaggerated grin. Bond was not amused. What the hell do they want to send me a woman for? He said bitterly. Do they think this is a bloody picnic? Mathis interrupted. Calm yourself, my dear James. She is as serious as you could wish, and as cold as an icicle. She speaks French like a native and knows her job backwards. Her cover is perfect, and I have arranged for her to team up with you quite smoothly. It is more natural than that you should pick up a pretty girl here. As a Jamaican millionaire, he coughed respectfully. What with your hot blood and all, you would look naked without one. Bond grunted dubiously. Any other surprises? He asked suspiciously. Nothing very much, answered Mathis. Le Chiffre is installed in his villa. It's about 10 miles down the coast road. He has his 2 guards with him. They look pretty capable fellows. One of them has been seen visiting a little pension in the town where 3 mysterious and rather subhuman characters checked in 2 days ago. They may be part of the team. Their papers are in order, stateless Czechs apparently, but one of our men says the language they talk in their home is Bulgarian. We don't see many of those around. They're mostly used against the Turks and the Yugoslavs. They're stupid, but obedient. The Russians use them for simple killings, or as fall guys for more complicated ones. Thanks very much. Which is mine to be? Asked Bond. Anything else? No. Come to the bar of the Hermitage before lunch. I'll fix the introduction. Ask her to dinner this evening, then it will be natural for her to come into the casino with you. I'll be there too, but in the background. I've got 1 or 2 good chaps and we'll keep an eye on you. Oh, and there's an American called Leiter here, staying in the hotel. Felix Leiter. He's the CIA chap from Fontainebleau. London told me to tell you. He looks okay. May come in useful.
So, now we've heard about the name Felix Leiter. So, who's he? Well, as you heard, that is to do with the CIA.
Right, yeah, I did hear that bit, but so he's just a CIA agent.
Yeah, but he keeps coming into the Bond movies as well, right?
Oh, right, so he's just like a repeat character then?
Well, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does in the movies and that, yeah. He's played by different actors, but, well, there is one that had the same actor in it, but, you know, you'll get round to seeing them, surely, but you ain't started watching them yet, have you?
Well, no, I haven't, but I like to continue to listen to a little bit more.
Number 007. Head of S, the section of the Secret Service concerned with the Soviet Union, was so keen on his plan for the destruction of Le Chiffre, and it was basically his own plan, that he took the memorandum himself and went up to the top floor of the gloomy building overlooking Regent's Park and through the green baize door and along the corridor to the end room. He walked belligerently up to M's Chief of Staff, a young sapper who had earned his spurs as one of the Secretariat to the Chiefs of Staff Committee after having been wounded during a sabotage operation in 1944 and had kept his sense of humour in spite of both experiences. Now look here, Bill, I want to sell something to the Chief. Is this a good moment? What do you think, Penny? The Chief of Staff turned to M's private secretary, who shared the room with him. Miss Moneypenny would have been desirable, but for eyes which were cool and direct and quizzical. Should be all right. He won a bit of a victory at the FO this morning, and he's not got anyone for the next half an hour. She smiled encouragingly at Head of S, whom she liked for himself and for the importance of his section. Well, here's the dope, Bill. He handed over the black folder with the red star, which stood for top secret. And for God's sake, look enthusiastic when you give it him. And tell him I'll wait here and read a good code book while he's considering it. He may want some more details, and anyway, I want to see you two don't pester him with anything else until he's finished. All right, sir. The Chief of Staff pressed a switch and leant towards the intercom on his desk. Yes? Asked a quiet, flat voice. Head of S has an urgent docket for you, sir. There was a pause. Bring it in, said a voice. The Chief of Staff released the switch and stood up. Thanks, Bill. I'll be next door, said Head of S.
So, I finally finished it now, so obviously I did better in the game, but yeah, that's the time you've got to be, and I've got to do it as well. So, you'll all be interested in what type of vehicles we'll be driving. Well, yeah, because we're told we've got to drive something a lot bigger than just a simple pickup with a trailer. Well, yes, we are driving articulated lorries again. Oh, that's so unfair, wasn't it? Well, yeah, but it's going to be a challenge. So, you've got the time to be, and good luck to whoever does it.
Well, but before we do that, I think we should show some more clips of Casino Royale.
Why?
Clearly, someone else had to do it because I need somebody younger.
So here we are. So I am be doing the challenge first, and yes, we all know I'm driving lorries. I'm still confused, right?
Don't take much for you to get confused.
What are you getting at? What are you picking on me all the time? You've been doing all wrong and all that lot. Look, never mind, you're trying to kick off and all that lot. The point is, right, we're doing our challenge, and as you can see, I'm driving the articulated lorry, and now I'm going to see if I can drive this lorry a lot quicker compared to a pickup and a trailer, and hopefully I can beat the time, because that's your challenge, to beat the time against the pickup and the trailer, not this one. Don't get confused.
Yeah, because he gets confused.
I don't get confused at all. You do. No, I don't.
Look, why don't we just put more of Casino Royale on?
Why?
What are you so upset for?
Because I like the films better. Look, the backs and all that lot. Yeah, but he's learning Bond how it was properly introduced to the world. It didn't just come out straight out onto a movie, did it? It was a book. Well, yeah, I established that, but it's unfair him knowing and all that lot.
Yeah, that's what's up with him. He doesn't like it because I'm learning now, because whatever he was babbling on about Bond, he was wrong or whatever.
I wasn't wrong about Bond at all. Look, can we just listen to Casino Royale, because it does have some interesting facts in it.
Yeah, and it's a good opportunity to do it.
In a moment he came out, and over the entrance a small blue light burned the warning that M was not to be disturbed. Later, a triumphant head of S said to his number two, "We nearly cooked ourselves with that last paragraph. He said it was subversion and blackmail. We got pretty sharp about it. Anyway, he approves. Says the idea is crazy but worth trying if the Treasury will play, and he thinks they will. He's going to tell them it's a better gamble than the money we're putting into deserting Russian colonels who turned double after a few months' asylum here, and he's longing to get at Nishifa. And anyway, he's got the right man and wants to try him out on the job." "Who is it?" asked number two. "One of the double O's. I guess 007. He's tough, and M thinks there may be trouble with those gunmen of Nishifa's. He must be pretty good with the cards, or he wouldn't have sat in the casino in Monte Carlo for 2 months before the war watching that Romanian team work their stuff with the invisible ink and the dark glasses. He and the Dizzy M bowled them out in the end, and 007 turned in £1 million he had won at Shemmy. Good money in those days." James Bond's interview with M had been short. "What about it, Bond?" asked M, when Bond came back into his room after reading Head of S's memorandum and after gazing for 10 minutes out of the waiting room window at the distant trees in the park. Bond looked across the desk into the shrewd, clear eyes. "It's very kind of you, sir. I'd like to do it, but I can't promise to win. The odds at battle are the best after 12 to cut off, evens except for the tiny Clanrock. But I might get a bad run against you and get cleaned up. Play's going to be pretty high. Opening will go up to $500,000, I should think." Bond was stopped by the cold eyes. M knew all this already, knew the odds at Baccarat as well as Bond. But that was his job, knowing the odds of everything, and knowing men, his own and the opposition's. Bond wished he had kept quiet about his misgivings. "We can have a bad run too," said M. "You'll have plenty of capital, up to 25 million, the same as him. We'll start you on 10 and send you another 10 when you've had a look round. You can make the extra 5 yourself." He smiled. "Go over a few days before the big game starts and get your hand in. Have a talk to Q about rooms and trains and any equipment you want. The paymaster will fix the funds. And go to ask the Dizzy M to stand by. It's their territory, and as it is, we should be lucky if they don't pick up rough. I'll try and persuade them to send Mathis. You seem to get on well with him in Monte Carlo on that other casino job, and I'm going to tell Washington because of the NATO angle. CIA got one or two good men at Frontenac, though, with joint intelligence chaps there. Anything else? Bond shook his head. I'd certainly like to have Mathis, sir. Well, we'll see. Can't bring it off. We're going to look pretty foolish if you don't. And watch out. This sounds an amusing job, but I don't think it's going to be. The Schiffer is a good man. Well, best of luck. Thank you, sir, said Bond and went to the door. Just a minute. Bond turned. I think I'll keep you covered, Bond. Two heads are better than one, and you'll need someone to run your communications. I'll think it over. They'll get in touch with you at Royale. You needn't worry. It'll be someone good. Bond would have preferred to work alone, but one didn't argue with M. He left the room hoping that the man they sent would be loyal to him, and neither stupid nor, worse still, ambitious. Chapter 4. L'ennemi est pur. As 2 weeks later James Bond awoke in his room at the Hotel Splendide, some of this history passed through his mind. He had arrived at Royale Les Eaux in time for luncheon 2 days before. There had been no attempt to contact him, and there had been no flicker of curiosity when he had signed the register James Bond, Port Maria, Jamaica. M had expressed no interest in his cover. Once you start to make a set at the Schiffer at the tables, you'll have had it, he said. But wear a cover that will stick with the general public. Bond knew Jamaica well, so he asked to be controlled from there and to pass as a Jamaican plantocrat whose father had made his pile in tobacco and sugar and whose son chose to play it away on the stock markets and in casinos. If inquiries were made, he would quote Charles de Silva of Shaftesbury, Kingston, as his attorney. Charles would make the story stick. Bond had spent the last 2 afternoons and most of the nights at the casino playing complicated progression systems on the even chances at roulette. He made a high banco at Chemin de Fer whenever he heard one offered. If he lost, he would sweevy once and not chase it further if he lost the second time. In this way he had made some 3 million francs and had given his nerves and card sense a harder workout. He had got the geography of the casino clear in his mind. Above all, he had been able to observe Le Chiffre at the tables, and to note ruefully that he was a faultless and lucky gambler. Bond liked to make a good breakfast. After a cold shower, he sat at the writing table in front of the window. He looked out at the beautiful day, and consumed half a pint of iced orange juice, 3 scrambled eggs and bacon, and a double portion of coffee without sugar.
See, James Bond's very conscious about not having diabetes, isn't he? Not having sugar in his coffee.
He drinks like a bloody fish, smokes like a bloody chimney. What do you mean? Anyhow, lads, I've done the challenge now, so I'm nearly there, as you can see. Yeah, but you were missing a bit round that net for a bit. Anyhow, you disqualified from dropping the trial, and that's the rules, isn't it? No, look.
So, we're going to be moving on to see another clip.
Why?
Because it keeps annoying you for some reason.
Well, that is not the case there, is it?
Oh, shut up whining. Look, I've been learning about Bond and this is educational for me and maybe for the younger generation if they want to inspire jumping into the heart and soul of James Bond.
From the moment we decided we were going to make Casino Royale, obviously the biggest challenge was trying to find an actor who could play James Bond at the beginning of his career as a 00.
Never mind all that 00 stuff. It's my challenge, everybody, and it's my turn to have the go at doing the most dangerous road challenge with my articulated lorry. So, we all know the rules that if you lose the trailer, that, you know, you're more or less out of the contents.
The what?
Well, the competition, I should say. Right? You know I've got a speech impediment, alright? So don't be taking the mick out of that.
I'm not taking the mick out of you.
Well, you are, it feels like you are. I think maybe that's what happened about me with this challenge and all that, like.
What are you on about?
Well, you know, like I explained the rules. Now, if you can hitch your trailer back on, we can still carry on with the, the challenge.
But you didn't get it back on, did you?
No, I didn't.
So you're disqualified.
Well, yeah, I am.
So, this is another good reason to put a clip on, isn't it?
No, come on.
One of the very first names that came up in discussion was Daniel Craig.
Will you stop patting these clips on with Daniel Craig coming on as James Bond?
What is your problem, Odinson? I thought you liked Bond.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit curious what's going on now. Why are you in a funny mood? Oh, look, just put the clip on, the last one, with our challenge, because we all know it's Captain Gorgeous, the cheat.
Look, because I do the challenge, right, I'll put it on, because somehow you're acting very, odd.
Well, I'm not.
Look, here we are, as you see, I'm doing the challenge, and obviously, yes, and we all know that I want to be playing Casino Royale, the book, because obviously, you've got to learn a little bit more about Bond, like the producers want me to do, and not to be some form of amateur like Captain Pervert here, what's more or less crying.
I'm not crying at all. It's just wrong.
What is wrong?
He lit his first cigarette, a Balkan and Turkish mixture made for him by Morlands of Grosvenor Street, and watched the small waves lick the long seashore and the fishing fleet from Dieppe spring out towards the June heat haze, followed by a paper chase of herring gulls. He was lost in his thoughts when the telephone rang. It was the concierge announcing that a director of Radio Stento was waiting below with a wireless set he had ordered from Paris. Of course, said Bond. Send him up. This was the cover fixed by the Deuxième Bureau for their liaison man with Bond. Bond watched the door, hoping that it would be Mathis. When Mathis came in, a respectable businessman carrying a large square parcel by its leather handle, Bond smiled broadly and would have greeted him with warmth if Mathis had not frowned and held up his free hand after carefully closing the door. I have just arrived from Paris, monsieur, and here is the set you asked to have on approval. 5 valves, superhead, I think you call it in England, and you should be able to get most of the capitals of Europe from Royale. There are no mountains for 40 miles in any direction. It sounds all right, said Bond, lifting his eyebrows at this mystery-making. Mathis paid no attention. He placed the set, which he had unwrapped, on the floor beside the unlit panel electric fire below the mantelpiece. It is just past 11, he said, and I see that the Compagnon de la Chanson should now be on the medium wave from Rome. They are touring Europe. Let us see what the reception is like. It should be a fair test. He winked. Bond noticed that he had turned the volume onto full, and that the red light indicating the long wave band was illuminated, though the set was still silent. Mathis fiddled at the back of the set. Suddenly, an appalling roar of static filled the small room. Mathis gazed at the set for a few seconds with benevolence, and then turned it off, and his voice was full of dismay. My dear monsieur, forgive me, please, badly tuned. And he again bent to the dials. After a few adjustments, the close harmony of the French came over the air, and Mathis walked up and clapped Bond very hard on the back and wrung his hand until Bond's fingers ached. Bond smiled back at him. Now, what the hell? He asked. My dear friend, Mathis was delighted. You are blown! Up there! He pointed at the ceiling. At this moment, either Monsieur Mons or his alleged wife, allegedly bedridden with the grippe, is deafened, absolutely deafened, and I hope in agony. He grinned with pleasure at Bond's frown of disbelief. Mathis sat down on the bed and ripped open a packet of Caporal with his thumbnail. Bond waited. Mathis was satisfied with the sensation his words had caused. He became serious. How it has happened, I don't know. They must have been on to you for several days before you arrived.
Why did you put that on right away and interrupt the conversation for?
Oh, so you're complaining?
that you don't want to listen to the Casino Royale, are you?
No, it's just a bit convenient that you did that and put this on because you're not in a really happy mood for listening to Casino Royale, are you?
Well, no. Yeah, I am a bit curious myself because you are acting a little bit shifty about it.
Well, he's always shifty all the time, isn't he? So that ain't no unusual thing about it, is it?
Say, you're bullying me now, right? And that's not on, right?
No, you're just making excuses because you're avoiding something and we're all getting curious.
That, you're not getting interrogating me, alright? Right? Because next thing you'd be thinking Casino Royale, that you'd be getting in a chair, cutting the bottom out and getting a big lump of rope with a knot in it. Is that what you're thinking of doing to me, are you?
What are you on about?
Oh, it's spoiling it for you now, because it's in the movie and it's in the book. You are quite selfish. Now, I'm not getting at that now, I know what's up with me, but the point is, now, the thing is, right, if you want to really know, is that Pierce had a hard time coming Bond, but he wasn't, he was suited for Bond. And the thing is, though, he couldn't come Bond when Timothy Dalton came Bond. Now, Timothy Dalton was offered to play the role on her Queen's Majesty's service, but he said, no, I'm not doing it because I'm too young. Bond's about in his 40s or something. So, you know, he turned it down, and obviously you had George Lazenby, and he did that role, and obviously, but everybody wanted Pierce, didn't they, in the end? He finally came, and he could have been the time when Timothy Dalton did it, but the TV series he was doing was Remington Steele, and the series ended, and then all of a sudden they brought it back, and it was like on a contract and something, and obviously, you know, finally later on in the years he did come James Bond, and he was very good. He got James Bond more recognised and everyone loved him, and then all of a sudden he was disregarded because everyone's saying he's too old, or they rub it in because, you know, because of that parachuting scene where it's just him and CGI and that, and you know, I think it's just disgraceful. So is that your excuse then? Well, not exactly, anyway, crashed, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. But never mind changing the subject.
I'm not changing the subject, I'm trying to get round it, because history is always going to be amongst us, and obviously now it's on, you know, celluloid or whatever you want to class it, or dictional film, right? It's a part of history, and Bond is quite a long franchise of movies, and you can see how the world changed and people's opinions like now or whatever. But the point is, even back humble days of Ian Fleming, when he was writing the books of James Bond, it was a different time. You mean, it's just after the Second World War, and you've got communism, what came gradually later on, obviously, with people having their different opinions and that.
You're just rambling.
Well, it is a very touchy subject, right? But this typical stereotype is, right, as I remember, right, as a little kiddie winky, that, you know, when I came to Bet Automatic, right, I always remember my Ladybird book.
The Ladybird books, you mean them educational books? They're wrong, them.
Well, no, I had, you know, the one where, you know, a man and his car.
Well, that's just sexist, isn't it?
No, it had some interesting pictures and some interesting facts about the cars, and you know, it dictated maybe the future, and obviously
What are you going with this? He's trying to avoid what he's trying to get at. No, I'm not. I'm trying to get round, well, there's images, isn't they? And funny jokes, maybe, you may think. But, point is, you got that bank robbery picture here. And, cops and robbers. Because when we were kids, we used to play games like that, didn't we? Cops and robbers. It was a very common game. Bad guys, well, obviously you come thieves and you're breaking the law, and if you want to be a good guy, you be a police officer or anything. But there was that other popular game what kids used to play, weren't they?
What?
Well, a bit embarrassing, but cowboys and Indians. Now, technically, how would you think about playing that game?
Well, a lot of kids did, didn't they?
Well, yeah, but who's the good guy and who's the bad guy? It's like westerns, isn't it? In our time, there were a lot of them being shoved in our faces, and we all knew who the villain was because he always wore a black hat, and the good guy wore a white hat. So it was always black and white who were the villains, wasn't it?
I thought that was because they have black and white TVs or movies, that's why.
Well, it could be, but you notice in colour movies they still did the same with their hearts, didn't they? It's like the same thing about the myths with propaganda posters, isn't it?
What you mean?
Well, with Germany, and everyone presumes that Adolf Hitler must have wanted blue-eyed, blonde-haired Kens for his army or whatever, that was the master race and all that lot. Obviously, he must have incorporated that idea stuck in Ian Fleming's head, or, especially the bomb producers, because every henchman, near enough, had blue eyes and blonde hair, didn't they? So when it came round to 2005, that a lot of people had the same stigma against Daniel Craig playing Bond.
Why was that?
Well, first thing, his hairdo for a start didn't help, did it? And then there were a lot more other things.
I had a go, but it didn't work.
A bit of a life vest on.
Oh yeah, well that kind of apparently was a sign that I couldn't swim or something.
So you're upset that he couldn't swim or something, were you?
No, he does a famous showing his nipples scene when he comes out of the ocean. So yeah, he can swim.
Right, then what is your problem then?
Well, because when he was first introduced, right, that was the first impression when he was on the bat, he had to wear a life jacket.
But he can swim, can't he?
Yes, he can swim alright.
But why are you moaning about that?
Well, what I mean is this bit what he says about, wearing armbands and that.
What?
You can knock yourself out.
Yeah, no.
You put it on wicket jacket, you can try yourself.
Yeah. I should have worn armbands. Orange armbands, it would have been a much better look.
So you don't like the idea that James Bond wears armbands, or even jokes about wearing armbands then?
No, it's not the case of that, right? It's the point that, like we mentioned, villains wear black hats and the good guys wear white. Well, technically in the Bond's universe is actually that the henchmen are usually blonde hair with blue eyes, and every time you see a guy with blonde hair and blue eyes, they're villains.
So you're saying it's just how he looks is wrong?
Well, yeah.
And how are you going to make your Bond different?
Daniel, time actually has run out, but can I ask you one final? He's been now exposed here. Do you, in a sense, have any worry about it?
Sensible? No. Thank you very much.
So you're complaining how he looks. Now, to my logic, if he looks like a villain, he'll blend in as a spy, won't he?
he's got you there. I've got to grant him that. Is quite a good question there.
Well, yeah, because it's me, isn't it, as well? So, answer the question then, Captain Pervert.
Why are you ganging up on me? Right, I've always said my opinion when we saw Daniel Craig, and all the rest of the world did it as well, so I'm not the only one that, you know, he looked funny for the part.
Because he's got blonde hair and blue eyes.
What do you think about Ken?
Why would I think about Ken when he comes in sort of different varieties? So, I don't see your problem. I mean, the typical stereotype you may think of Ken is the movie because he's got blonde hair and blue eyes. Is that what you're trying to refer at?
Well, no, but it's not natural for Bond to look like that.
Look, you're just making it very pathetic and I don't actually understand what you're trying to get at.
Well, it's obviously, if you knew the movie, you'll know what I'm getting at.
No, I don't, and I don't think I will. Will I get that, Mr. Captain Know-It-All?
Not really, no. But a lot of people did think like he did.
What? Because he's got blue eyes and blonde hair?
Yes. Yeah, they did.
Well, I don't get it. So, everybody, on them orange armbands, it's time to end the show.
You can't end it like that.
I already have. Bye.